Welcome to the Hidden Driveway Show. I'm your host, Amu, and then joining me today we have a very special guest, XOFILO. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, it's XOFILO, and I am very happy to be here today on this show. Thank you to Amu for having me, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, this is also I guess the biggest interview I've ever done because you're the most popular artist, but you're good friends
Yeah,
with Ghosty
it's
and Kid
crazy.
McKnight, so that's how we got this set up. So big shout out to them also.
Yeah, shout out Ghosty and shout out Peyton McKnight. They my homies.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, to get us started, is there anything that you would like to talk about? Is there anything on your mind right now?
I don't know. I don't think there's really much on my mind right now because I just woke up like not too long ago and shit. So hmm let me see
Did you
if I
have like a
have
dream
some.
maybe?
I did kinda, but most of my dreams just happens to be like bad ones, or like sometimes they just happen to have like people that I don't want anything to do with
Mm-hmm.
and shit. And like it's so ass. Like it's I don't know. It's just so ass. Like
Yeah, sometimes what happens when my friends are like doing shit to me, and then I'm mad at it, and then I wake up and I'm like obviously it's not real, but I'm still like annoyed by it.
yeah, same. I'm the same way.
All right, moving on to the first proper question though. So you've been releasing music online since 2020, and you've shifted and evolved your sound with each year. So given that, right, who have some of your biggest influences been over the years?
My biggest influences over the years still are definitely Charlie XCX for sure. She is like a huge inspiration of mine. And you can definitely hear it on like my new album because Charlie was like the main influence for that. Mainly 2017 to 2020 Charlie and like AG Cook, Hannah Diamond, and Sophie was definitely one of my influences. R.I.P. Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
PC music overall has been like a big influence on me as of recent, and yeah, I guess that's about it for my influences today. 100 Gex used to be a huge
Mm-hmm.
influence on me when I first started out because I started out being a Gex clone, and yeah, we do not need to speak about that fucking era. But yeah, I think it's mainly just I think it's mainly Charlie that's like a big inspiration of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know not as much now, but I know Chief Keef was for that like Stardom era.
Yeah, Chief Keef was definitely another inspiration of mine. Him and Speaker Knockers.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. again. Shout out to the Stardom era. Oh yeah, Base Hunter was also an inspiration of mine during that era too. Same thing with Searle as well. It's just the main inspiration behind that era was things that I grew up on as a child in like the early 2000s and late 2010s, especially with like YouTube type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like Stardom just basically represented like what I listened to in my childhood and stuff. But like I'm kind of I'm kind of over the nostalgia shit now, but like I'm still proud of that project to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there was a Stardom 2 at some point. Do you want to talk about what happened with that?
I basically just took it down cuz I just didn't like it anymore. Like it wasn't the direction that I wanted to go in as an artist anymore, and like my opinion of the project completely changed, and like I just didn't like it anymore
Mm-hmm.
and shit. And like, which made me sad because Glow Halation is like such a cool title. Glow Halation, Love Life reference, Snow Halation, shout
Mm-hmm.
out. But like, I don't know. I just thought the tape was like very mid now, and like, yeah. So like, I just took it down. However, it's up on my archive page on SoundCloud. So
Okay.
if y'all still want to listen to that, y'all can.
Do you have any thoughts on like artists that like do delete their music? Because obviously you do. I know that can be like a kind of contentious thing with like the fan base. So
Honestly, I don't care. Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want with their music and shit. So I don't really care.
hmm I guess for me it's different because like what you were saying with like how you didn't want to go like in that direction with like Stardom 2, for example. I understand that, but at the same time it's also like this isn't for you. I'm just saying like in general, it's like you made that project a point in your life and then you move on to something else. I don't think like taking it away makes like sense because that's still a part of your like progression. But I get why you don't feel like it's representative, like what you want, like
Yeah, but
XOFILO to be.
yeah, like it's not like an official project of mine anymore. At least I don't consider it an official project of mine. Same thing with Oroville.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was like going through shit when I was like making that project. But to be fair, I was like going through some shit when I was in the middle of making Pink Matrix 2, which I guess that's for later. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we talked about your influences, right? But the people that you're making your music with also. And while you've been a part of other groups in the past, you're now part of FabFantasy, a collective that features artists like Barely Human, Pixelhood, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's a Ketsforeki. I don't know how you say that.
Kitseki.
Ketseki, okay. Who all have like millions of monthly listeners, so I'm sure that's been very interesting to be a part of. So I wanted to know, how did you first become part of that group, and then how has it impacted your work?
Okay, so back in June of 2022, I got in contact with Barely Human. A few months before, I DM'd them and asked to send them beats, and they used a few of my beats, and then Barely told me to send them an open, so I did, and then Hell Yeah happened. I'm not too proud of that song. I think me and Barely have way better songs, but then like I think 2 days after the song came out, Barely Human asked me if I wanted to join Fab Fantasy, and and like of course I said yeah, I'm down to join. So I joined the collective, and I feel like that's when my music really started taking off. Cause like I've been doing this shit since like 2020, but like it never really took off until I'd say around late 2022 or mid 2022. Well, no, actually early 2023. Actually, it was like a little after I joined Fab Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Like I started getting popular after Cats popped up in the scene, but even though I started when Hoshi started and Rebsy popped up in the scene, but like my music just didn't gain much traction until like early 2023. And like I think being in Fab Fantasy definitely helped with that for sure. And also my collabs with Barely Human have also definitely helped for sure. So big shout out to Barely Human. They're not in Fab no more, but big shout out to them for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, I'm thankful for that shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, they aren't, because I was looking at the SoundCloud earlier, and it says like members and following, and then they're still listed in there. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. They're not listed on the Instagram account of the
Mm.
following,
Okay.
but like, yeah, they left a few months ago because they wanted to focus on like their mental health and like future projects shit, and also they weren't like spending time with us as often anymore, especially because they're signed to like a label now and have like management and stuff. But yeah, I think being in Fab definitely helped my music career for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I told you this before, but like people at my college like knew who you were, which is just like
That is still crazy. Like, damn. I think Ghosty was telling me about this a few months back too. It's still crazy to me.
yeah, like I was at the original like Oroville listening parties in 2021, which is crazy like how
Yeah.
much has changed and happened since then.
Yeah, that was shout out to the Oroville listening party. If you were there, you're a real one. Like, you had to be there, kinda. Like, you're a real one if you were there for that era.
Confession, I wasn't there for the whole thing. I remember because my dad wanted me to go get like in and out with him like at like 1 in the morning. So I had to leave the listening party like halfway through to go get a burger. But I liked what I heard from the listening party, even though I know you're not the biggest fan of it now.
Yeah. And also I've seen that there was like a bunch of people like trashing the features on like the OG version, which which I don't really care now, but like I think it kind of made me stop liking the project. Honestly, I don't blame them though.
Mm-hmm. And then I know you don't really associate with that's this sound anymore, but I know you're part of that whole like scenecore scene. Like, how would you describe what
Yeah.
that like sound is? Because I haven't really been sure on that.
Okay, the sound is like it's just like some rave beats, EDM, dance beats, and like yeah, I just be singing about popping Molly over them, doing drugs, seed sluts. Not me though. They can stay safe. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't be listening to like that much scene core anymore and shit. But yeah,
Yeah, it's because I've never really been like a listener to that sound, so like I'm not very knowledgeable on it. But I know it's obviously popular. Like I know like Hands Up charted on like Billboard, right?
yeah, it did. I think it was. I think it charted at like number 14 on the top 100 hot electronic songs.
Yeah, so it's just crazy how far that's gone, especially when it is so like internet based.
Yeah, that is definitely crazy. Like, I didn't think scene core as a whole would like get this big, but then like Cats happened, and then like a bunch of people started like popping out after him and shit.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that, like I'm assuming like TikTok had like a big reason to do with that. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely TikTok. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because I know like Hyperpop and Digicore never really had that moment where it got to like that point. Like I know Charlie is like huge now, but she's not even doing like actual like Hyperpop anymore with like BRAT and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, no, definitely not. But like, I was like hella inspired by like her more hyper pop type of stuff. And shout out Brat. I know that's not hyper pop, but shout out Brat for sure.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, do you have like a favorite song off of BRAT?
Ooh, okay. Damn, it's hard for me to choose. I think my favorite song, if I had to choose, I feel like it would be either Sympathy as a Knife, I might say something stupid,
Mm-hmm.
or Everything is Romantic,
Okay,
or Club Classics. That one's really good too.
mm-hmm. I'm a big Talk fan. That's my bias.
Oh yeah, that song's really good too.
Like I don't know how you can't not like when you listen to it. Like it's so good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So we actually talked about this a little bit earlier, but I saw you posted recently on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it Twitter because that's a stupid name. Um.
Yeah, fuck X.
But you said recently they're gonna enter your PC music era, which is a label associated with poptimism and nostalgia for the early 2010s. and a lot of your music is also not as much now, but it had that like scenecore aesthetic to it, which is more from the 2000s. And we would have both
Yeah.
been children during that era, right? So, what are some of
Yeah.
your favorite childhood memories from that whole time period?
Okay. My favorite childhood memories. Okay, this is kind of a fun one. Um, I was like listening to Bass Hunter and Cascada and like
Oh, Cascada.
just just like shit like that, and like I was like watching like there was like a certain type of video. There was like certain types of videos I was watching on YouTube. I don't know exactly what they're like called, but like it's like one of those song remixes with like a character with like a fictional character that is like supposed to be like singing them.
Wait, is it like a YouTube poop music video?
Sort of something like that. Yeah, I used to watch that shit, and like that shit was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And also I used to listen to a lot of early 2010s pop growing up. I know that's like not really part of like the whole scene core era thing, but like the early 2010s pop music also played an inspiration of mine in my style. Shout out early 2010s pop, recession pop, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I used to listen to that shit all the time. I was like getting home from school in elementary school, and on the bus, I was just listening to that shit. It was like, ooh, I was having the time of my life. So that definitely played a big part in my music style and like my inspirations. Yeah, shout out Katy Perry. I was like a huge fan of hers back in like 2013 and shit. And like I still am, but like I don't know.
I mean, I know
I
recently
don't
she
know
dropped
about
like
Woman's
a
World.
yeah. I know she dropped a single and it wasn't the most well received. So
Yeah, as someone who was like a big fan of her, unfortunately, they're not missing much. Which makes me really sad because I was a big fan of her. Then she dropped Woman's World.
no, she's got to go back to what was it like the swoosh era?
Swish, swish, bish. Another one in the basket. I actually like the album that it's on. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's good. Probably unpopular opinion, because like I've seen so many people hate on Witness and stuff, but I personally disagree. I don't know. I used to listen to that album a lot back in like 2017 when it came out and shit, and like I think it's overhated, but to each their own.
I know Ash is like a big Katy Perry fan also, so I might need to tap in because I haven't really listened to any of her like albums in full or anything.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be a fun time, honestly.
Yeah, I know it's California Girls, right? The like 2010 album or something.
Yeah. Um, it's Teenage Dream,
That's what I'm okay.
but California Girls is on that album.
Okay, but I've heard that one is like actually like really good, so I need to get into that. I don't know. I've been so late
Yeah.
with like pop music in general. Like I listened to an Ariana Grande song in full for the first time like 2 days ago.
No fucking shot.
Like I don't know, like I listened to Thank You Next like in full, and that's like a really good album, and I'm just like, why was I waiting so long to do that? And I still haven't listened to like a Lady Gaga album, which I'm sure is probably also a big thing for you, which I just haven't gotten there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Gaga and Kesha are also they also play a part in like inspirations of my music. Like shout out to those two. And shout out Thank You Next. That's like I think that's one of Ari's best albums for sure. Or I think it might be her best. I'm not too sure. I haven't listens to like the rest of her projects in full in like so long. But like I was like a huge fan of her during middle school and high school. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was like streaming the fuck out of that shit.
Were you ever on like the PBS Kids website? That was the big childhood thing for me.
Not much, no, but like I've seen like the PBS Kids channel, I think, during like my childhood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was talking more about like I guess like the computer games though, or like Flash games. Were there any that you were like super into?
Okay. Um there was one that I used to play in elementary school. It had something to do with a red ball. Um I don't know exactly
It
what
was
it
just called
was.
like Red Ball, I think. And how he had like a smiley face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I used to play that shit like a lot during elementary school. I also played Fireboy and Water Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of them. Yeah. Um, I definitely played one of the Papa's games. I've definitely played some of them. Papa's Pizzeria, Papa's Freezeria, Papa's whatever the fuck. Yeah, I played that games. Oh, I played those games a lot during my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Big shout out to that. Also, shout out Cool Math Games too, for sure. I used to play on that shit a lot.
Yeah, I knew this. I was in my school's after school program, so we'd have to go to the like computer until our parents picked us up. And there was this kid that could play Fireboy and Water Girl like by himself, and like play as both at once. I thought that was like the craziest thing ever.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out them.
Mm-hmm. And were there any like maybe like TV shows from that era that you watched? I know Love Live was probably one of them.
Kinda. I don't think that show was like part of my childhood, but
Mm-hmm.
like it did become part of my life later on. Cause like I didn't really discover Love Live. I did okay. I always knew about Love Live because of the Nico Nico Ni meme.
Wait, that's what that's
That
from?
like yeah,
I didn't know
Nico
that.
Nico Ni. Yeah, that's where it's from. It's from Love Live. I knew about Love Live because of it back in like 2013, but I never watched it until like 2017 or 2018, maybe 2019. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I started getting into Love Live. It was like in the middle of Aqua's careers, like as a group. Shit. Shout out to them. Big shout out to them. Also, Johanne is literally me. But yeah, big shout out to Love Live. If okay, also, speaking of Love Live, if y'all were there for the XOFILO Love Live cover art era, you're a real one. Like, you had to be there for that era. That was such an era, dude. Like, real ones remember the Philo Love Live cover era.
Mm-hmm. My only exposure to Love Live, admittedly, has been the song Snow Halation. Cause do you know about it like Siva Gunner?
Yes! Yeah, I do. That and also, yeah, shout out Snow Halation. That was also the inspiration for the title of Stardom 2,
Mm-hmm.
Glow Halation. Yeah, big shout out to Snow Halation. Shout out Love Live. Yeah, usually I get like all excited whenever I talk about this type of shit. So shout out to that.
And admittedly, though, I know nothing about the show, right? So can you explain to me like what the plot of it is? Because I don't really know like what it's about. I just know there's girls in it. That's like all I know.
Okay, all right. So in the first part of it, I think first part, there's like a bunch of different Love Live shows. We have the first one, School Idol Project. Literally in that show, there's like these girls, and like their high school is like closing down and shit, which R.I.P. Bozo. No, I'm joking. But yeah, there's these girls and their school is closing down. And like one of the girls really likes the school and has been starting to get into idols and school idols as a whole. So she suggests that that her friends become school idols with her, and like they just form an idol group to save their school from closing and shit. Yeah, big shout out to Katori. She's literally me. Um, but like, yeah, I fuck with that shit heavy.
Mm-hmm. And how do you pronounce the? I know the band name is the like. It's like the U with the line that goes down.
Muse.
Muse. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is for like School Idol Project. I think, and then there's like a second one too called Love Life Sunshine, and like it's the plot is like the same thing, but like with some differences and shit. I don't know. I haven't watched Sunshine in a bit, and then like there's like this, and then there's a third one, Love Life Nijigasaki, and like it's just a bunch of like solo idols, like I guess like competing against each other. I don't know. I haven't watched that in a bit. I barely be watching anime anymore because now I just spend all my time making music and shit. But like, yeah, shout out she is also me. Like, okay, the amount of characters in there that give me gender envy is crazy. Like, damn.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking about how all you now is making music, right?
Yeah.
So your debut mixtape was called Stardom, which we talked about before, and there's a song on it called Party City. And while that song was meant to be, while that song is about just, ideal world where all you do is party, Party City is also just like a store that you can work at, right? So
Yes.
I wanted to know, when you were a kid, what did you see yourself like being as an adult, like for your job?
Okay, so when I was a child, I used to like dream about like being a successful content creator and like eventually becoming a successful like musician too, and like having like a music career and all that shit. Like I was like dreaming of that shit when I was a child, because like music has been a huge part of my life, especially my childhood. And like when I was a child, I've always wanted to make music, and like now I'm actually doing this shit. Like, damn, I am for real living my dream. Like, wow. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So music was like always the plan for you, or like the dream, I guess.
Yeah, kinda. But like I also thought about doing content creation, just becoming a YouTuber too, but that didn't work out.
Were you like making videos like actively?
Yeah, I was, but they had my dead name in them. So
Mm.
so like yeah, my channel never really took off, thank God. But yeah.
Yeah, what kind of videos were you like making though?
I think reaction videos were part of it. Um I was also doing I don't remember much, but like reaction videos were definitely one of them, and they were bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
for another day.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I know. There's a complaint now with like the music industry. You kind of have to be both like a musician and a content creator like at once to like promote yourself.
Yeah.
And with this, like I make my own music too, and these videos are also in a way like it's more to help uplift like all the artists because like for example like this is your first ever interview and nobody has ever like done that before, right? So I've really wanted to help give a platform for other artists. So that
Yeah.
was my main reason for doing this. But I also make my own music too, and that's what I really hope to focus on, and then kind of use this channel to help like merge the two together.
Yeah, definitely.
And would you have any maybe like advice to smaller artists in terms of like how to like grow?
All I'm gonna say is just be yourself and like definitely drop consistently. Dropping consistently helps a lot. Like it definitely helped for me for sure. But like yeah, just I guess just drop consistently and just be yourself. Don't try to sound like anyone else, especially in this scene. Cuz like there's already a bunch of people in the scene who like copy other artists and shit. Like mainly Cats and Hysteria and like Otatari too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just be yourself and drop consistently for sure.
Mm-hmm. Have you found like an XOFILO like copy yet?
I haven't yet, but I know some people in the scene have been like hitting up my cover artist, Mitsune, to make like their PFPs and like those people started like having her art as like their PFPs like probably like after I did it. So shout out to me. I put them all I put the scene on to Mitsune. Shout out to her. She's an awesome artist.
Mm-hmm.
She did the cover art for a lot of my music. And yeah, big shout out to her. She's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I can just cut it out. But is like what you make from streaming like monthly like enough to like? Because I've been wondering that. Because my goal, right, is I want to be able to make like roughly like minimum wage off of music, and then get a job, and I can have like two incomes. Like that's kind of my goal. And I know you have like 50K listeners, so like how does that like translate like financially?
I make like hella money off this shit, and it's starting to get to a point where I might be able to like make a living off of it if I live in like a cheap state or whatever. But like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, because I just know that streaming doesn't pay the most, so that's what I was curious about. Because I know there's all these underground rappers, but it's like how like, and they're like, I got so much money, and they have like 20K listeners, and it's like, do you really though?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for answering that. So moving on, and we touched on this a little bit before, also, but you just dropped your debut album, Pink Matrix. So what was
Yeah,
the
I
process?
did. My official one.
Mm-hmm. So and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to know what was the process for making that album like.
Okay, so the process of making Pink Matrix, it started all the way back in March of 2023 last year. Pink Matrix was gonna be a completely different album, kinda. Like I had like a concept. I had like a whole different concept for this album, and at first I thought it was just gonna be like just me doing whatever and like sort of like a continuation of like the MB pop star coming through style that I did that time. But then Utopia by Travis Scott came out in July of that year, and my concept ended up changing a bit because now I wanted Pink Matrix to be like the Utopia by Travis Scott, but scenecore.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was, fun fact, there was going to be a Crush Club song on the album, but like that Asteria and Otatari type shit. There was going to be a Crush Club song on the album, and I was gonna make an open for it, but I never did. It never happened. I ended up giving the beat to someone else. That person being Ghosty. Shout out Ghosty. I gave the beat to Ghosty, and she used it in our song that we have together. That came out like March of this year.
Oh, is
I
that the
think,
Kill
or
Yourself
April. I'm
bitch
not
one? Is
sure.
it that?
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, I was gonna use that beat for Pink Matrix, but I just never recorded on it, and I'm so glad I cut it out because it would not fit the album. I don't think. Like it would be like it just wouldn't fit the overall vibe of like the album shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I did make that Crush Club song and put on the album, it would have seemed like it would have seemed like, oh, I want clout, I want money, I wanna have this song that I can get hella clout on this album and shit. And like that's just it's not who I am as an artist and shit. So that song ended up never happening. Also, the beat sounded like copy paste Lumi Athena type shit, anyways. So it definitely wouldn't have fit Pink Matrix.
I still like that song a lot though, even if it wouldn't have fit like the vibe of like your project. I think what Ghosted is pretty cool.
Yeah, I still like the song too, but like it just wouldn't have fit on the project.
Mm-hmm.
But like but yeah, the concept then changed to being like the Utopia by Travis Scott of scenecore, or trying to be that. But then I later on revisited PC music for whatever reason, and like just bubblegum bass and like just sort of that type of shit, and like basically just hyperpop before the Money Machine clones took over, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I started revisiting that sound, and then like the concept I had for the album completely changed. Like now I wanted to start doing that type of music. It's the type of music I've always wanted to do when I first started my career in 2020. Like I did do that kind of music a bit in 2020, but I don't think I ever did it right until this album,
Mm-hmm.
which that I am really happy about. The album took like 15 months to make. It started in March of 2023, literally a few hours before I dropped MB Popstar Coming Through. I started working on Pink Matrix. It wasn't even called Pink Matrix yet at the time. There wasn't even like it didn't even have a title yet. But like one of my close friends, Crystal Ash, came up with the name Pink Matrix, and I said that I wanted to use it for my album, and she was down with that. So I just used it for the album. And like yeah, there was like a bunch of songs that were gonna be on the album that eventually got scrapped, but I released them all as singles, except one, but we'll get to that in a bit. A little fun fact: the songs "Sleepover," "Summer Day," and "All Night" (in parentheses Summer Day 2) were all gonna be on Pink Matrix. Actually, wait, I forgot one. In My Head was also gonna be on Pink Matrix too. That song is out on the FabFantasy page. But yeah, those 4 songs were gonna be on the album, but I ended up cutting them from the album because they ended up not matching the concept that I had for the album, which is
Mm-hmm.
like just inspired by PC music, but also still doing my own thing and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like, if they were to be on the album, I don't think they would like sound too out of place. But
Like on Summer Day, you're
I,
rapping with like your normal voice, a part of it, which is like a big part of like the first half of the album.
yeah, that was like in one of the first that was like one of the first songs where I started like doing rapping, cuz like I used to hate my rapping voice, but as time went on I started to appreciate it more, and I actually started liking it. So I started rapping more in my music, especially with the first half of Pink Matrix. Um but yeah, those songs were going to be on the album, then they got scrapped. But there was also another song that was gonna be on the album too, but it got scrapped also, and it never came out as a single, and it's not gonna see the light of day because it's about a specific person that I no longer want anything to do with.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
All right. Well, I don't know, so we'll
But
keep it
like,
at that.
let's just leave it at that. So back to the album. I spent the past year like just recording it and like just working on the album in general. Eventually I finished it in July of 2024, which was when I distributed the album and shit. But yeah, that was like the process of it and all that.
Yeah, and then some of my personal favorites from the album would probably be like Metronome, with Jerry McDowell, and then I like Closer to You with One Poison. Is that how you say it?
One Scion.
One Scion.
I just call it Scion. I've seen some people pronounce it as Poison. Like it got to the point where I made a tag for her as a joke. And I was like, Scion, it's poison in the club. And like that shit was like really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are some of my personal favorites off the album.
Yeah, Closer to You is also a personal favorite of mine too, because I feel like with that song, it really like showcases like the whole PC music influence, and like you could definitely hear it on that song, especially the Charlie XCX influence. Like, yeah, I feel like that's a very important part of like, I think that sound is like a very important part of the album because it's like the album's main sound. But like, there's also some other sounds in there too. But like, yeah.
Speaking of Pink Matrix, though, there's a song on it called "Go Fast," and super speed is often an ability that comes up in this conversation, right? But what superpower would you want to have if you could have any ability of your choice?
Teleportation.
What will be the reason for that?
So I could like teleport to my friends because they live far away from me. SMH. Like, and also I just feel like that shit would be very, very cool. Also, I think it'd be like a very cool power to have. I feel like.
I had a talk with my friend a while ago, but like we were talking about like if everybody on Earth could teleport, like how would that work?
Dane, I don't even know.
Because like kids would not go to school if that was an option.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it's also like you wouldn't need roads anymore. Like the whole transportation industry would just get like destroyed immediately.
Yeah, R.I.P. transportation.
And like, oh dude, if you're like in office, dude, you're just dead. Like if you're like the president, because they can just teleport like into the White House like immediately.
Yeah,
that's probably like the nightmare scenario. Just anybody can go anywhere they want at any time, just like that. Like that's probably
literally.
That's horrifying. You know what though? I think that'd be also my choice for superpowers though. It used to be telekinesis, but I think just in terms of like practicality, like I would much rather be able to go wherever I want when I want.
Yeah.
Cause like if you have like super strength, then the government's gonna be like, why is this guy so strong? That's kind of weird. But if you can just teleport away, like they can't, like they'll never know.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you gotten to meet up with any like online friends?
Not yet. I definitely will soon. So I'm very excited for that because like I got some crazy plans on the way. I'll be meeting up with one of my internet friends soon, or maybe two. I don't know, maybe a few, but I'm very excited about that. I did link up with an ex-internet friend of mine back in like February of this year, but shit happened, and yeah, it was a bunch of rough shit happened, and like that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, I hope when you eventually do, it's a good experience. Cause like I got to meet up with a bunch of my like online friends that I like back in June because they were throwing a show in New York. So I like flew
Yeah.
out there, and that was a really cool experience, just seeing everybody all at once. And I hope I can again sometime like relatively soon.
But yeah, I definitely want to meet up with like a lot of my internet friends soon, and I plan to. I just don't know when yet, but I definitely plan to do it soon. I definitely want to for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be fun.
So in every video, and I'm sure you've seen the Ghosty one, but there's a segment where I play rock paper scissors with the guests that I have on, and in the last episode, I beat Black Smoke Rises. So I got to keep my streak going, right? So I was wondering if we could play rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you could just put your emoji like in the chat, like what move you're going to do. We can do it that way.
Okay.
So let me know when you have your move prepared.
Wait, like what do you mean like my move?
Like with the emojis, you can just look up like rock, and then it'll show like a rock, and you can like hit enter when I say shoot.
Okay.
Oh, but you no, you have to
wait.
When I say
what am I supposed to do?
No, when I do rock paper scissors shoot, that's when you press enter to do your move.
Okay. Wait. So like when are we doing it?
No. So have your move ready, and then I'll say rock paper scissors shoot, and when I say shoot, you press enter to do your move.
Okay.
Okay. So let me know when you have your. Oh my god. So let me know when you have your move ready.
All right, I have my move ready.
Okay. So when I say shoot, that's when you can press enter.
Okay.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, you're up 1.
All right.
So now we gotta do it again, and maybe this will just settle it, and you're the GOAT. Maybe I'll tie it up and it gets a little intense. Who knows?
Bet.
All right.
I have my next move ready.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, okay. So now we're tied. So we are very vicious rivals now. Because this can go either way.
Bet.
All right.
I have my final move ready.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I'm cooked.
Okay. So I'm on a 3-person winning streak now.
Yeah.
So come on, guys. It's like my third. I had a 4-person winning streak going like the last time I lost. So hopefully I can get back up there with the next one.
Hell yeah.
Also, it's always awkward doing it when they don't have the camera on, because I know it's really inconvenient to do it that way, but that's just how we have to do it for this. You're like a skin carcass on my wall now because I defeated you.
Real.
You know this is real though. So you've worked with many artists over the years, like Aisha Erotica, Ghosty, and Peyton McKnight, who I both interviewed before. And then you have an entire collab project with One Scion. I know how to say it now. So collaborating with other artists feels like an integral part of your creative process. So who are some people you'd love to work with that you haven't yet, whether they're in your scene or just like a dream collab?
Okay, for people in my scene, I would love to work with Death Kitty more. I also definitely want to get something in with Glitz and Doll Reel, because I don't think we have something in yet. I don't think I have a song with like either of them yet. So like I definitely want to tap in, because I've been watching both of them from like very early, especially Glitz. Like I've been keeping up with her since her debut song, and like she has potential to be like one of very epic and awesome in the scene. And like, I mean, she already is, but like she deserves more clout.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Doll Reel. And like Yeah, shout out to those two. I definitely want to work with Baby Alex for sure. And I want to work with Hubie the Kid more. I think that'd be cool. And I also want to work with Eugen Vinny more also. And I definitely plan to work more with her. So that's going to be like super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited for that.
And are there any maybe like dream collabs that aren't like maybe like quote unquote feasible at the moment? Like let's say like Katy Perry, for example.
Probably not, but like I do have like some dream collabs in like I guess the underground,
Mm-hmm.
but like those dream collabs being of course that kid and Chase Icon definitely. I definitely want to work and maybe Capo XO too. He was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's real. I think that's really about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still crazy that the Aisha collab happened though, because that's such like a big like moment for you. I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah. The whole Aisha collab was like such a big moment for me and shit. And like, you know, because it's like one of my dream collabs, and like it's like wow, I can die happy now
Mm-hmm.
because I got this. Like, damn, that's crazy. Like, wow.
Okay, moving on. So I always like to put more serious questions towards the end of these videos, and you have a song
Yeah.
called "Carried Away" with Hoshi Star. So what's a time where you got carried away with something that you've since like learned from?
I think I think a time I got carried away was like probably my previous relationship. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like, damn, I committed too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I committed too hard for this shit. Like, it was not a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whew, that shit was rough. But I got through it though. So I guess that's good. But yeah, I definitely got carried away in like that relationship, especially because like that person said that we might not be able to like reconnect romantically and shit, but like we still did anyways. And like so like I started committing way too hard to it because I ended up being used and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's for another day and for another time. You know, a bunch of bad shit happened like at the time. There's like there's like two songs about it on like my album. Um the second part of Fairy Tale and Shadow are both about a specific person that I used to date, but ended up using me and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so like those songs are like personal to me. And like, I don't usually do personal songs because like usually my love songs aren't about anyone in particular. But like those two songs were like personal. Usually I don't do that type of shit. I usually just sing about I'm in this party, I'm in the club, and also just doing unholy things with guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like me doing like a personal song is like very rare, I feel like. And like a sad one too. But like yeah, a bunch of shit happened and like it was like rough. I'm not gonna speak too much about the relationship because I honestly don't want to.
It's also not
Because
my business, so
yeah, like it. I got carried away and it really fucked me up. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all you need to know,
yeah.
really.
I've been there where you care like more about the person than they care about you, basically.
Yeah, like I cared more about that person way more than they cared about me and shit. Like especially when they like straight up admitted to like using me like after like a few days after the breakup and shit. But like I was like still committing to it. Big mistake. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of bad shit happened, but that's for another day and another.
Yeah. I wish me in a more like lighthearted way. I think I get carried away with like projects a lot where I get like overly ambitious and then it just becomes like a hassle to work on. Like I'm currently making an album right now where there's 26 feature artists that are supposed to be on it. And I have 23 of the features like in, but it's just been such a pain working with like that many people at once to like do it. And I don't think I can ever do something like that to myself like again.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of something. That reminds me of another thing. There's another thing that I get carried away with. I also get carried away with making songs and recording them because usually I'm not so sure what to do with those songs, especially since I just dropped a whole ass album. Like I just dropped an album like 3 days ago, and well, 3 days ago as the time of this recording, and I've already made like 3 unreleased songs. They're probably not gonna come out for a bit though, but they will come out eventually. I'm just not sure when to drop them
Mm-hmm.
or like what to do with them. I have this issue like all the time when it comes to like making music after I drop a project and shit.
Well, because you're
Especially
motivated, right?
yeah, and like especially because after I dropped Purple Light District, I already had a bunch of like unreleased songs to drop like after the tape came out. And on top of that, I had like a whole album rollout planned for Pink Matrix in May. So like I had to get like all the unreleased shit out before May at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And like I had to like really think for a second what to do with like the songs and shit because I didn't have much time to like drop every single song in there, especially before a whole album rollout and shit. Like so yeah, I definitely get carried away with like music too and like just making music and not knowing what to do with them.
Yeah. I will say that like I know you probably want to let the project like breathe for a little, but I have some friends for like my friend Bappy. They just dropped their album Asphyxia like a few weeks ago, and then like the week after they dropped a little like like single like 2 song like single. So it's like sometimes you can just like keep it pushing if you're worried about
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I don't know. It just depends. Like I dropped an EP back in May, and I made another song after that, and it's on SoundCloud, but I never put it on streaming because I didn't want it to like overshadow the like EP, I guess, as like the first thing
Yeah.
you see. But after seeing that, I might just put it on there just to have it on there because like why not? Because it's not like your album's gonna go anywhere if you release another song.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Back to your music though. So one of
Yeah.
my favorite songs by you is "Something Special" by Benji the Machine. So what do you think is something special about you?
Okay, I like this question. I feel like a special thing about me is definitely my voice for my music. Like cuz like my voice, if you really think about it, my voice is like very unique in like in like this scene and all that. And like I really like that about myself. Like I don't think like for the voice, I don't think I really sound like anyone else. And I really like that about myself. A few years back, I used to hate my voice or like the way I sounded when I was like singing and like doing vocals. But in the later years, I've learned to appreciate it and I started liking my voice. And like and on top of that, I feel like my voice sounds androgynous. Like I don't sound like a girl nor a guy, and I really love that about myself. And also I feel like it just plays perfectly into like the whole NB pop star
Mm-hmm.
persona that I play in my music. So like it just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think it shows, especially with like the more vocal confidence you have on those like rapping songs of Pink Matrix, for example.
Yeah.
And a lot of the subject matter is also about, like, as you said, being non-binary, being able to do whatever you want, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as the episode comes to a close, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Before this episode comes to a close, I just want to give a shout out to FabFantasy. Shout out to Barely Human for giving me the opportunity to join. Shout out Ghosty. Shout out Kate Dash. Shout out Crystal Ash for sure. Shout out Scion. Shout out Death Kitty. Shout out Glitz. Shout out Dollreel. Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, shout out Kid's Heart for sure. Big shout out to Kid's Heart. He's my goat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, shout out Yugen Vinny too, and Vi 5000 and Zenny, because I feel like those two artists. No, those three actually. I feel like those three artists deserve like more exposure and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Shout out J1000. But also, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who was there for me while making Pink Matrix, and also throughout when I started like my career. Shout out to everyone who supported me in a single way, shape, or form. Like, I appreciate you all, and thank you all for believing in me.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, shout out to all those people, and of course, shout out XOFILO. Thank you for coming on today. This is really fun to
And
do. Oh,
and I almost forgot. Shout out to you for having me on this show.
ooh. Well, thank you. And I appreciate you being on because, like I said before, you're also the biggest artist I've ever interviewed before, which is kind of crazy. So,
Yeah.
also a very cool experience. But yeah, so all the links will be in the description down below if you want to go check out their music, which you should because it's pretty good. And I like the new album, Pink Matrix. Go listen to it right now. And yeah, is there like anything else you want to say?
Go stream my new album, Pink Matrix. It is amazing. Literally my best project. Literally my most important project in my career. Like, I'm like super proud of it. It's like the project I'm the most proud of. Literally my favorite one I've ever made. Yeah, please go stream Pink Matrix. It features FabFantasy artists such as Hubie the Kid and Pixelhood. And it also features goats like Scion and of course the Aisha Erotica too. It also features Peyton McKnight. Ghosty did some background vocals on like some of the songs.
I know in the outro song, right? Because I heard, I knew like immediately.
Yeah. Go stream Pink Matrix. Yeah.
All right, well there you have it. So I'm Amu. This has been the Hidden Driveway Show. Goodbye.